For those of you that are joining us via the Ustream link already, thanks for tuning in. We are going to kick things off in about 6 minutes at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone. I'm Spinks Megginson, and again, we're going to kick off our severe weather update at 8 p.m. to discuss the Alabama severe weather situation for tomorrow. So hang with us. We're getting a text out to all of our text subscribers. To opt into that service, all you have to do is text the word updates to 51660, and that's how you opt into RedZone Weather Text. 8 o'clock here in the central time zone, 9 in the east, 6 in the west, and 8 o'clock here in Bruton, Alabama. You're watching a live RedZone Weather Update. Good evening, everyone. I'm Spinks Megginson. Thank you for tuning in this evening. Obviously, a lot going on across the nation with the Iowa caucuses, lots of news coverage, but we are here to discuss the potential for some severe weather across the state of Alabama and northwest Florida for Tuesday into the early part of Wednesday. A lot to talk about, and a few changes have actually happened over the past few hours that we're going to discuss in just a moment. Before we get there, though, let's talk about what has happened today and what's happening out there right now. Temperatures across the state of Alabama are in the 60s. Way too warm for the first day of February, and we have got temperatures that are going to be into the mid-70s once again for your Groundhog's Day tomorrow. Right now, 60s across the state, even some 70s on the board. You see over in Covington County there at the Andalusia Ott Regional Airport, 69 degrees, upper 50s for northern Alabama and northern Mississippi. And one thing that's going to help fuel the thunderstorms in the daytime hours of Tuesday into Wednesday are the warmer temperatures and also this warm Gulf moisture that's streaming up from the Gulf of Mexico. In fact, let's go ahead and have a look at our dew points out there right now, and generally speaking, you want to see dew points in the 60s for severe weather, 60s and above into the lower 70s, and indeed across southern Alabama, dew point temperatures are going up. The relative humidity is going up out ahead of the cold front here, and dew points remain in the 60s. What's going to happen tomorrow is you'll see more 60s on the board in the northern half of Alabama as the air really becomes unstable, moist, and juicy for the development of thunderstorms across the region that we're going to talk about in just a moment. In fact, let's go over to our graphics system if we can, and we'll show you the convective outlook. And we're going to get a new convective outlook at about midnight tonight, so you'll see the updated one in the morning on our RedZone Weather video that will debut around 7:05 a.m. But this is the situation as it stands now, and you do note that more of northwestern Alabama is included in this enhanced risk zone. We've also got a substantial chunk of the state included in the standard slight risk zone. And if you'll remember back to our severe weather events just a few weeks ago, the several that we've had, this was the same type of risk, the slight risk, that prompted several tornado warnings in several of those events. So understand, just because we have this hatched out area here of enhanced risk doesn't mean that severe weather won't occur in the slight risk or even the marginal risk zone. So virtually a severe weather risk exists across the state of Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee, even as north as Indiana in the daytime hours of Tuesday into early Wednesday. What does that mean? Perhaps a few isolated tornadoes, damaging straight line winds, and also I can't rule out the risk of large hail in some of the thunderstorms as well. We'll go ahead and advance to our next graphic just so you can get some idea of exactly the locales included in this risk. This is a view over the deep south, and this is the enhanced risk zone here in yellow. So the enhanced risk clearly going to be north of Demopolis, Montgomery, Auburn tomorrow. In fact, the enhanced risk is for northwest Alabama. This is a view of the state, and understand Alabama is highlighted here, but there's a risk in Mississippi and Tennessee as well, other states. But we're here to talk about Alabama. Many of you watching tonight are from Alabama and northwest Florida. That's who we cater to here at RedZone Weather. And so this orange area, this is your enhanced risk zone, and that simply means that there is an enhanced risk to see severe weather in the daytime hours of Tuesday and Wednesday. So let's go through a few of the locales in this enhanced risk zone. You've got Florence, Decatur, Huntsville, Athens, also Moulton, Hamilton, Russellville, Sullivan, down to Aliceville, Pickensville, Tuscaloosa, Jasper, Coleman, Holly Pond. Also, you've got areas near Athensville included in this enhanced risk zone. This yellow zone is your slight risk zone, and while the severe weather threat is a bit lower, it's not low enough to give you any type of all clear. Understand, this slight risk is just as serious as the enhanced risk zone. So let's talk about a few of these locales. You've got Scottsboro, Boaz, Birmingham, Gadsden, Talladega. You've also got Rockford, Clanton, Centerville, also Marion, Selma, Montgomery, Demopolis, Thomasville, Bruton, East Bruton, Riverview, Monroeville, Mobile, Chatham, Butler, also Haneyville, Wetumpka, and also Ashford included in this slight risk zone here that you see shaded in yellow. So virtually the entire state has a severe weather risk tomorrow. Anywhere near the locales I've called out, be prepared. That means have a way to receive the urgent weather warnings. And let's go through the bottom line. For tomorrow, the main tornado threat is clearly going to be over northern Mississippi and west central Tennessee. But again, the northern half of Alabama, particularly the northwestern corner of the state, basically from Tuscaloosa, Birmingham up to Huntsville and points north and west, has a tornado risk. Now, clearly, based on some of the models that we've been observing, the damaging straight line wind threat will be greatest. And I do think that that's going to be your main threat for tomorrow. But again, I can't rule out tornadoes anywhere across the state on your Tuesday. Damaging straight line winds and also large hail are two possibilities of things that could happen as well. Let's go back to our other product here, and I want to take you through a few of the models just so you can get some idea of what we are looking at that suggests that we will have this severe weather event tomorrow. So I'm going to go over to our models here, and you're actually looking at the data just as I look at it. This is the North American model, and this is one of the models that we use to forecast weather on a daily basis. This is valid tomorrow, February 2nd, on Tuesday at 3 p.m., which is 21Z, Z time, which is Zulu time. And the concern here is that you see all these cells popping up over western and southern Alabama. And what I'm concerned about is you'll have your main line of storms developing back here in Mississippi, but the storms out ahead of the main line have the potential to start rotating. And if this model happens to be correct, we could indeed see a few supercell thunderstorms out ahead of the main line. We'll go ahead and advance the model ahead in time. And understand, let me communicate this. Just because the model has like this storm here doesn't mean that a storm will form in that exact area. This happens to be in Monroe and Butler counties. It's the whole area that has the risk, and these models have no good grid for placing storms on a map down to the street level. So understand, just because you see this storm here in the middle of Butler County doesn't mean we will have a storm at that time in that county. It is communicating a general risk across the area. So here's your main line of storms, and this is valid at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So this is suggesting that we'll have storms basically across the state with your main line back here in the state of Mississippi. We'll go ahead and move this forward in time. And this is valid at 6Z, which is midnight tomorrow night. And understand, the other thing that these models sometimes miss, even by a few miles, is the timing of the situation. So just because you see this predicted radar doesn't mean that the storms will be in this given locale at this given time. This is suggesting the potential is there for a line to be stretched basically from Huntsville down to Fayette, down to near Hattiesburg, Mississippi, pushing off to the east. So if this model happens to be right, it's suggesting that we could have a main line of storms here approaching the state of Alabama at about midnight tomorrow night. This is suggesting it could be a long night as this line of storms moves through. We'll look at another model here, and this is the global forecast system, yet another model that we use on a daily basis to track weather phenomena in the atmosphere. And this is valid tomorrow at 9 p.m. And this is a model that is not as high resolution as the NAM, the 4-kilometer NAM model that I just showed you. But if this happens to be correct, you've got potentially a line of showers and storms moving through northern Alabama and Mississippi at 9 p.m. tomorrow. And understand the timing and the spatial location of this could be off, but the potential is there for some strong to severe storms, basically between 4 p.m. on Tuesday to 4 a.m. on Wednesday morning. So If you can avoid traveling, I would certainly advise you to not be on the roads late Tuesday night into the early part of Wednesday morning, just because we have this severe weather risk. Let's go back to our other system so we can show you the convective outlook one more time. And if you're just tuning in, again, we have a severe weather risk across the state of Alabama and northwest Florida on your Tuesday. If you'll take the banner off, please, so we can show the entire state here. This is the state of Alabama. Clearly, the greatest risk of storms tomorrow are going to be in the northwestern corner of the state, basically from Livingston to Tuscaloosa to Jasper, Coleman, Huntsville, points north and points west of those cities that I just called out. That's where your greatest risk of storms will be tomorrow. You also have the greatest risk of seeing potentially some significant tornadoes in this area as well. You've also got Jackson, Mississippi, Tupelo, and Amory, Mississippi, also included in this enhanced risk zone. And much of the state is included in this slight risk zone as well. If you just happen to be tuning in, the current time is 8:11 p.m. and the whole state of Alabama at risk of seeing some strong to severe storms on your Tuesday into Wednesday. We've already talked about the bottom line. Again, that's your greatest threat area, clearly over the northwestern corner of Alabama. I can't rule out severe weather at any point tomorrow. Basically after, say, 10 a.m., we could have storms fire up basically across the state. So the main window clearly going to be from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. on Wednesday, but have a plan. And this is what you do in a tornado warning. We haven't talked about this tonight, and I do want to clarify, we don't have any tornado warnings in effect right now. This is what to do during a tornado warning if we have those issued tomorrow. You want to get to the lowest floor of a site-built structure. The worst place you can be in a tornado is in a car or in a mobile home. You've got to get out of those things and move to a site-built structure if you've got one nearby. And once you get in that site-built structure, you want to put as many walls as you can between you and the outside world, preferably in an interior hallway, closet, or bathroom in the interior portion of the site-built structure. Obviously, you want to be out of mobile homes and cars. Those are death traps during tornadoes and damaging straight-line wind events. And this is something new that we've been talking about here at RedZone Weather, and hopefully going to expand this in the weeks and months ahead. If you have a football helmet, perhaps an old football helmet, or maybe even a bicycle helmet or a motorcycle helmet, ballistics helmet, you want to put those on when a tornado warning polygon is issued for your area. A lot of the deaths that occur in violent tornadoes, research is suggesting, is due to blunt force trauma to the head. And so if you can put a helmet on, that greatly increases your chance of survival in a tornado. Also, this is something new as well. You want to put closed-toe shoes on. Obviously, we don't want anything to happen to you in terms of if you have a damage event from a tornado, but if you do happen to have damage to your house, you want to have those closed-toe shoes on so you can potentially get out of debris and not have to worry about stepping on wiring and that sort of thing. And when that polygon is issued for your area, you want to act immediately. Don't wait. The National Weather Service, our friends in Mobile, do a great job at issuing our local warnings here for their county warning area in southwest Alabama, southeast Mississippi, and northwest Florida. So don't take any chances with this. You want to take the course of least regret and act immediately when a warning is issued. Thanks for checking out this RedZone Weather Update. We'll conclude with our convective outlook if we can go back over to our map products here. And tell you what, if you'll take me back actually to the other graphics, this is actually on my machine. So I want to thank Lee Margaret Bostic for helping us tonight. She's the executive producer behind the scenes running the show, and certainly I want to thank her. And also Bruce Thompson, who is our chief legal officer for RedZone Group LLC. Again, severe weather threat tomorrow. Basically the entirety of Alabama. Isolated tornadoes, damaging straight-line winds, and large hail will be a possibility in some of the stronger to severe thunderstorms. Greatest risk clearly going to be over northwestern Alabama, but again, I can't rule anyone out across the state. Thanks for watching this evening. We will have a full rundown on the RedZone Weather video in the morning at about 7:05. That's going to be posted on our Facebook page. If you haven't already, be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. The handle is at RZ Weather across the board. Here's our social media sites. And also, you can text the word updates to 51660 to get all of our RedZone Weather updates sent straight to your cell phone. In fact, that's how I was able to send out our live stream link to the many of you that are watching, and I certainly appreciate you tuning in this evening. Tell your friends, tell your family members that we've got this free, wonderful service to let you know when we have severe weather. All you have to do is text the word updates to the number 51660. And one thing that's been confusing a few people, you actually have to do this in your cell phone's messaging app. You can't do it on any of the wonderful social media sites. You have to go into your messaging app on your iPhone, Android phone, Windows phone, or even feature phones, and text the word updates to 51660. If we have tornado warnings for any part of southwest Alabama and northwest Florida, Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties at any point on Tuesday into Wednesday, we will of course do our best to have this live stream up where you can get all the latest radar updates and information that pertains to your hometown. And we try to cover every nick and cranny, whether it be small, whether it be large in terms of population. We are here for you at RedZone Weather. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a blessed evening.